And sometimes I don't think that I can handle it, but he obviously does, you know. So when you find yourself in these situations, pray, and to be patient until the trial or the tribulation subsides. As Allah says in the Quran, وَاسْتَعِينُوا بِالصَّبْرِ وَالصَّلَاةِ. Seek assistance in prayer and patience. Prayer and patience. Number 3 is the dua, the supplicate, to ask Allah to remove any situation that you are in that is creating distress, to remove that from you. All right, to remove it from you. Number 4 is to read the Quran, qira'at al-Quran, recitation of the Quran. It soothes the heart. Allah says that the Quran is a shifa'un lima fi sudur, that it is a healing for the heart. And believe it or not, when you open the Quran and you read it, I mean, it's just so peaceful. Have you guys ever heard the Quran being recited out loud in Arabic? So peaceful. Maybe you guys should give them a CD or something so that they can hear it for themselves. You know. You should recite something. I should recite something.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not the best reciter. That's not my forte. That's not my. I went to school I graduated with a bachelor's degree in Hadith sciences, right? Not Quran. But just for the sake of you guys hearing it, so that your ears can bear witness for you or against you on the day of judgment, I'll recite it for you. I'll recite the greatest verse in the Quran, which is Ayatul Kursi. Not the whole verse, but just a few lines from it. And this is considered the greatest verse in the Quran. Surah number 2, ayat 255. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. الله لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم لا تأخذه سنة ولا نوم له ما في السماوات وما في الأرض من ذا الذي يشفع عنده إلا بإذنه يعلم ما بين أيديهم وما خلفهم ولا يحيطون بشيء من علمه إلا بما شاء وسع كرسيه السماوات والأرض ولا يؤوده حفظهما وهو العلي العظيم. You can go back and read the English translation of it, but this is actually considered the greatest verse in the Quran. All right, and it speaks about the magnificence of God and the power of God and all of those things related to his existence. But this is, and I mean, obviously that's not even mediocre recitation, all right? There are some very beautiful, beautiful recitations that will literally, I mean, like when I'm driving on a highway, we can't listen to the Quran in the car because my wife, if she's driving, she goes to sleep. Literally, it will put her to sleep. And I mean, there are some very beautiful recitations. And when you listen to someone, even Prophet Muhammad, he was sitting with one of his companions, Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, and he told him, Iqra alayya al-Quran, read the Quran to me. And Abdullah ibn Mas'ud said, am I going to read the Quran to you and it was revealed to you? Like, you know it better than I do. He said, Inni uhibbu an asma' ghayri. I like to listen to someone else recite it to me. You know, and when he began to recite Surah number 4, Surah An-Nisa, the chapter of the women in the Quran, and he got to a verse where Allah says, you know, and how will it be when we bring forth a witness and we bring you, O Muhammad, as a witness over all of mankind. And Prophet Muhammad told him, stop, enough, enough. And when he looked over to see Prophet Muhammad's face, his eyes had welled up with tears because of the beautiful recitation and because of the content as well. So when you couple that together, understanding the content as well as the melodic tone of the Quran, it definitely brings, you know, a source of peace and tranquility to your heart. So reading the Quran is definitely something that will help to remove stress and relieve stress, as well as being obedient to God, doing the things that pleases God. Sin creates this internal fight, dissonance in you, where you know it's wrong, but the human side of you falls victim to it. And after you do it, there's this war going on inside of you, you know, and it's easier to obey God and stay away from the sin than to disobey God, do the sin, and then have to work your way back into a good relationship with God. When you have a good relationship with God, you want to maintain that relationship and stay away from sin and stay away from acts that would make you displeasing to God. All right, so keep that in mind, because that is also something that brings. If you were a God-fearing person, right, and you were raised in a home where you were taught to, respect God and respect the rules and regulations and the structure, and you were raised in that type of environment, when you find yourself drifting away from that environment, although you are enjoying yourself outwardly, internally, there's a war going on inside of you. You are not happy. You are not comfortable. And this is what breeds stress. If you were raised as someone who should respect your chastity and not to, have sex before marriage, and then you go and you do that, even the first time that you do it, it gets easier as you go along, because that's the nature of sin. The more and more you do it, the more and more accustomed to it you become, and the more easy it becomes for you to do. But the first, or even the second time, you don't even enjoy it, because you have put yourself at odds with God, and you know that. And this breeds stress, its own level of stress within itself. So it's easier to just say, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to, let anything infringe on my relationship with God. It's easier to stay obedient to God and do the right thing. And I know in these type of environments, it's very difficult, very challenging. But here again, God does not put a burden on you more than you can handle. Sometimes we underestimate ourselves, while God continues to try us and test us, because he knows that there's a greater side of us that we have not recognized yet, which is why he continues to test us. And then the last thing is looking at the people that you surround yourself with. If you surround yourself with people who are pessimists and you try to be an optimist, eventually you become what? You become a pessimist. You are a reflection of the people that you associate with. That's just how it goes. That's human nature. You are a reflection of the people that you associate with. So if you associate with people who are positive, who are always optimistic, who always look at the glass half full instead of half empty, then that will begin to have an impact on you. But if you're surrounding yourself with people who always think negatively, always see trial and tribulation in every single thing, eventually that starts to wear off on you. I tell married couples all the time, when they're having problems in their marriages, who are you associating with? Because a lot of times when your girlfriend is having problems in her marriage, you begin to take on problems. You didn't have any problems, but every time you run into her, she's telling you about, what's going on between her and her husband, and it's not really working, or vice versa. The man, every time he comes around, he's talking about, his wife and how this is not working, and he thinks he's married the wrong person. And then lo and behold, you start having problems in your marriage when you had none to begin with. But because you started to associate with people who have these problems, you become a reflection of the people that you associate with. Does anybody, can you relate to that? None of you are married here, but nonetheless, you understand what I'm talking about. You have the girlfriend who always having problems with her boyfriend, and then you start having problems with your boyfriend, or vice versa, the guy, So, keep yourself surrounded by positive people, and, you guys have been great. I appreciate you taking out the time to come and listen, and perhaps, maybe something that I said will affect you in a positive way that will help you remove yourself from any stressful situations or any situations of hopelessness. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you all, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide us all to that which is truthful and that which is pleasing to him. Wa sallallahu ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallama tasliman kathira wa akhiru da'wana and alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Questions or inquiries or nothing?
That's good.